Hi, everybody. So, we're going to be having a table talk today, just conversations about conversing with your children, no matter what age they are. So, my name is Erica Cox, and I am the founder of Ground Zero Ministry. I am loving the journey, and I have had the privilege of just meeting so many people in our community that is helping me and supporting me in my ministry, to also just give to you and to offer to you. And I'm just so thankful that I have Heidi here with me today. And so, Heidi, you can introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Erica. This is super sweet to get to be with you and to get to, I feel like we get to be with you too, because all of you who are watching right now. My name is Heidi Pitak. I am the owner of a company called Speak Eagle, and it's a company where I teach people how to use shame-free communication strategies in every area of our life. So we're going to be talking in this session about how to use shame-free communication strategies with our kids.
That is so very important. I remember growing up in the South, and sometimes after you are corrected by an adult, they would go, "Shame on you." You know, shame on you. You shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what advice then would you offer to parents in communicating where they're still getting the message to their children that this behavior is not okay, but then they can walk away with the hope of recovery and not shame?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's a really big challenge for us as moms, because our own fear of experiencing shame is wrapped up in our kids' behavior. And what I mean by that is, okay, say I take my kids to the grocery store.
Okay.
And while we're at the grocery store, they start throwing a great big fit for whatever it is that they want, that they see. Well, there's people that are walking by and I've had people walk up and say things to me like, you know, if you would love your children better, or if you would love your children more, they wouldn't cry. I'm like, oh my goodness, you just shamed me. And that's really hard for us as moms when we feel the shaming looks of other people, or sometimes it's even just me that I feel this expectation of myself to be a perfect mom with perfect kids. And then when I see my kids misbehaving, the reminder to me is, you are not a perfect mom and your kids are acting up. And that's a sign of how imperfect you are, that you can't get it right. And I think that so often we shame our kids because we're so afraid of the shame of our reputation or imperfection, or this pressure that we put on ourselves for how our kids reflect back to us then what kind of mom we are. And my identity becomes wrapped up in how my kids behave. And if I have really awesome, happy, well-behaved kids that do everything right, then I feel like I'm a fantastic mom. And then when they mess up and they misbehave and other people are like, oh my goodness, I can't believe your kid just did that, then I feel the shame, which makes me go, look, you need to shape up. And
you need to do right. Right. I get that. I can relate to that. Having my 5 children and just funny stories. And you do want your children to be disciplined. And you do think that sometimes as a mom, if they don't, if they're not well behaved, then you think that it's something that you're not doing, or that you're not doing a good enough job. But I think sometimes we put some of those expectations on ourselves based on learned behavior, even just from that's been passed down even to us. And I remember going into the grocery store once, and I still think about this. And my husband was, I don't know, he's just, working. And a lot of times we have our children with us, and the kids were hungry. I had just left work myself, and they were hungry, and I had the 3 kids at the time, and I had one in the shopping cart who was dropping eggs out of the shopping cart.
No.
As we were going through, and so and then I had another one who was so hungry he bit into the pack of bologna that I was buying.
No.
And so this gentleman, he tapped me on the shoulder because I'm trying to get the eggs, and I'm feeling a little frantic. And then on top of that, he goes, "Ma'am," I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Little man is eating the bologna." I was like, "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness." So, and so you do feel that, that shame. And at that moment I did, and you're trying to correct the behavior in front of people. And sometimes we correct, with our emotions, like, we want to react and discipline in a way that may not be appropriate sometimes too. Like, my reaction was shame, and like, "Why are you doing that? And let's hurry up and let's just get out of the grocery store."
Right.
Let's just get out of here right now. So so I get it, and I just think about how much and how often sometimes we can raise our children. We have to be very careful about this, raising our children with the expectations of how others see us. Yeah, let's not do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really hard, though, in the moment to remind yourself that there are other strategies that we can use other than shame. And I think that is one of the things that I really focus on with the clients that I coach is what are the other strategies that we can use, because everything in us wants, our instinct will be to shame them. And honestly, if we think about it from a brain chemistry perspective, we have this amygdala, which is our fear center. And the second that we feel like there's a threat, and the threat would be, this kid is affecting my reputation because they're dropping eggs out of the cart. The second that we feel that threat, then our amygdala sends the hormones or neurotransmitters, negative ones, across the front of our brain, which is the adrenaline and cortisol. That's what makes you fight or run away, or makes you want to fight with your kids in that moment. And it floods the thinking part of our brain so that in the moment we are saying whatever is going to protect us best. It's our safety survival mechanism. So that's why we talk about seeing red. Like, in that moment I saw red, because honestly your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, has been totally flooded with these negative neurotransmitters, with these stress hormones, and it makes you not be able to think in the moment. So if I have a question
then. So when you say that it makes you not think in the moment, is that why we react emotionally?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally, because in that moment we're just trying to protect ourselves, our reputation. Sometimes we might even be trying to protect our child from, whatever it is that they're doing, if it's something dangerous. But in that moment, we're doing whatever we can. It's that fear response. We're doing whatever we can. So in order to access these other strategies that we have in the moment to correct a child, we have to, it's called when it floods the prefrontal cortex, it's called an amygdala hijack. It's like your fear center has hijacked your thinking brain.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is.
But you feel it in the moment. We totally feel it. So in order to access these thinking brain strategies, I have to speak it out loud and to say, okay, I feel my heart rate going up. Wow, I feel my breathing getting more shallow. In this moment, this is causing a lot of stress and tension for me. I know that I'm going to need to do something different here. I might speak all of that out loud, even in the presence of my kids. Like, I can feel my heart racing, so I know this is a really tense moment for me right now. And when we can speak what is happening to us physiologically, like I want to run away, I want to fight, when we are able to say what's going on, I don't have any spit in my mouth. Even if our kid is little, they don't understand what we're saying, and that's fine. But I can explain, one of my boys really struggled with anger for a while. I have 4 boys. They're now 14, 16, 19, and almost 21. Mm-hmm. But he would say, my throat starts getting tight, because I was trying to figure out how to help him when he would haul off and hit people and break things and all of that. I'm like, what happens right before that? And he said, well, my throat starts getting tight. So I said, when your throat starts getting tight, will you say it out loud? Because that helps to activate your thinking brain. So he would say, I can feel my throat getting tight. I know I need to do something different. So that he can stop that hijack and then make a choice to do something different. And I said, okay, what do you think you need to do to help calm yourself down so you don't hurt someone or break something? And he said, well, I think I'm going to try counting. And I said, okay, great. So when your throat gets tight, say, my throat is getting tight. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to try counting. And then he would start counting. And then he would say, wow, I felt myself calm down. And he started having control then over his own, what's going on in his brain.
Did you, do you then recommend that, because it looks like it's be used for both parents and children,
Oh, yeah.
When we feel like we're being hijacked. That's really good.
Then we can speak it out loud.
Then we can speak it out loud.
In the grocery store.
And then we can share those strategies with them as well.
Yeah, with our kids.
So did you allow your son to just come up with, okay, what are you going to do?
I did.
So that he can have some ownership in his own reactions.
The more that I'm able to ask him, even if he's gotten himself into a difficult situation where he's gotten into trouble, or he's behind on his homework, or or he realizes he's not going to have enough time to finish what he needs to do, or whatever situation he finds himself in, then I love to ask the question, wow, that's a hard situation. What do you think you're going to do about it? Okay. So I'm saying, I trust you that you are smart,
that's really good,
and that you can come up with a great solution. And if he's like, I don't know, then
what do you do?
I like to play devil's advocate and say, well, I guess you could go punch the wall right now. What would that feel like? And he'd go, well, that I've done that before. That hurts. Okay. Remember when my knuckles bled? Or remember when I made the hole in the wall and then I had to patch it up? I'm not going to do that. Okay, well, let's see. You could punch your brother. What would that look like? He's like, well, he would punch me back. Yeah, you're right. That would happen. Do you think some other things that you could do? So I'm coaching them through, even like when we're on the way to the grocery store, I would say in the car, okay, so we're on the way to the grocery store. What are some things you think you're going to see that you probably will want? And then I help them talk through that. Or, so say the eggs are in the cart and you really want to pull the eggs out and drop them all on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
What would happen if you dropped the eggs on the floor? Well, I'd probably get in trouble and I wouldn't get, wouldn't get the things that the particular chicken that I wanted or whatever it was.
Yeah, I like that you said, because sometimes we just grab the kids and we just go, like we have to go to the grocery store. And I remember feeling some angst.
Yes.
There were times I would definitely feel the angst and the anxiety just with taking the kids to the grocery store. I would look for the no candy aisle.
Totally.
It's like, okay, where's the aisle where they just have just magazines? No candy aisle. I would look for that. But I like that you were saying, like, you have the conversation while you're on the way.
Yes.
So then everybody's expectations are being managed before you get to the grocery store.
And I might tell them what the consequences are, too.
Okay.
So, you're probably going to be tempted to throw the eggs on the floor. if you choose to do that, then this is going to be your consequence. Then you're going to have to, when we get home, you're going to have to sit in your room by yourself for 15 minutes, or we're not going to get dessert after dinner tonight. And one of the biggest things that it's really important for us to communicate to our kids is empathy. Even when we're giving them the consequence, I want to communicate empathy. So if my child chooses to still drop the eggs on the floor, then I say, oh, darn, I'm making a really yummy dessert tonight, and that makes me super sad that you won't get to eat it. I wanted you to get to eat that. Maybe tomorrow you'll get to, if tomorrow goes well, then I would love for you to get to taste it. But I have empathy for them. If it's they didn't finish their homework by 8 o'clock and their bedtime is 8 o'clock, then I'm sorry, buddy, we're going to have to set your alarm a little early tomorrow. I hate having to get up early, and I know it's going to feel early to you, but I want you to be able to get your work done, but your bedtime's 8 o'clock. So I love you, and I'll be with you in the morning when you wake up, and it'll be tough, but you can do it. You can do it.
Wow.
So I give them empathy even when I'm giving them a consequence. I just said to my teenage son the other day, he wanted to go to a buddy's house, and I had asked him to do something before he left, and I don't remember what it was, take out the trash, or it wasn't something huge, but he was about ready to leave. Oh, you know what it was? I asked him, he has his driver's license, and he wanted to spend the night at a friend's house on a Saturday night, and I said, well, you have to come home and pick up your younger brother in the morning before church. So you need to get up on time, you need to get home and pick up your brother in time, and I want you to be to church on time tomorrow. And he goes, I don't want to do any of that. He goes, can't I just skip church? And I said, I really want you to be able to go to your buddy's house because I know that's really fun for you. So I want you to be able to go. I know that'll be fun. But I'm asking you, in order to go to your buddy's house, I need you to pick up your brother on time for church. And he was like, okay. He said, okay. He didn't even fight with me.
Okay.
But I had empathy. I said, I know it's going to be tough in the morning to get up early and get here and pick up your brother, but I want you to go to your friend's house.
Okay. No, that's really good. So, you then, so just talk about that even a little bit more about that shame piece in communication. Just help us. Help us, with our children. I think prior to starting, I shared the story with Heidi how I babysit my granddaughter, and it's interesting to me that you can see when you're communicating with them, something about their demeanor changes when they feel like they're being shamed, and so you just being very careful about
Tell that story that you were telling me. How old is she?
She's 2.
She's 2.
She's 2, but she already, she can sense already, like I've done something wrong. This is not right, and so I could see, where
she
her body
closes in,
like her body language might shift or change, and so you don't want that. You want them to, at least I want her to see, okay, you've done something wrong, but you don't have to be afraid, and you don't have to be ashamed. And so just teaching them, that yes, we're going to correct your behavior, but it's nothing to be ashamed for.
Right.
Yeah. Or about,
I do think it starts when they're very, very young, and when they're very young, we can be very direct with them. Don't touch that will burn you. Don't touch it. And then we move them. You do what you can to remove whatever it is. If it's a bowl of candy or something, I don't leave the temptation out for them. Because I want to be able to say yes to as much as I can say yes to. So the things that I'm going to have to say no to, if I can remove the temptation, then it helps to at least lessen the discipline that I have to give them. But so my company is called Speak Eagle because I see the eagle being the shame-free communicator. 3 things that are amazing about an eagle is that they have powerful vision. They are able to see beyond what's just right here, but they can see an ant crawling on a wire on the other side of a football field. Like, they have amazing vision. And then they also partner for life. And I see us as parents, we partner with God in parenting our children. We're not doing this by ourselves. He's the one that is... he's the pilot, and he wants even more than we want for our kids to walk with him and follow him and make good choices. And then the third thing that an eagle does is they soar above storms. They don't get stuck in the storm clouds, but they can soar above it. And I see that as parents for us, that we can get really caught up in our own fear of experiencing shame of what this looks like for me. If my child is misbehaving, that it makes me feel like a bad parent. And if I get stuck in that I believe fuels our most unhealthy communication strategies with our children. And they come out in 3 different ways. One is the turtle, and the turtle will hide their head in their shell and not correct their child at all. It's like free range kid. They just let the kid do whatever they want because it's too scary to confront a child and tell them what they're supposed to be doing, because that child might fight with them, and that fighting feels like rejection, or that child might say, you're a horrible parent. And that feels, for a turtle, I'm a turtle, and I would much rather just not correct anybody and let them figure it all out themselves, because I don't like conflict. I like harmony. But I can only bottle it up for so long, and then I will become a snapping turtle, and then I bite all their little heads off. And that shames the child too, because they're like, oh, what in the world just happened? It's shocking when your parent is like, nice and sweet, and honey, just come over here, and then all of a sudden they're like, get over here.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then the second unhealthy strategy we use is the fox. The fox is passive aggressive. The fox will not say exactly what they need, but they'll say something like, if there's 2 kids, they might say, look at your brother. He just picked up his toys. Oh, looks like he's the good one.
Oh my gosh.
And then what's the kid feel like? Oh, I must be the bad one.
I must be the bad one.
Yeah. Or they might make threats that are guilting them to say, why do you have to be such a difficult child? And those types of things that guilt the child. Or, you make my life so difficult. I can't wait until you get a little bit older, and then you'll realize how much of a pain you've been. They use all those, it's passive aggressive. They're not saying exactly what they need from the child. They're just guilting the child for not doing it right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or playing between the mom and the dad.
But I think too, when you do the one that you're talking about, the fox, when you compare one to the other, I think you can ruin the sibling relationship.
Yeah, that's so true.
That can have an impact. Yeah. Even with one sibling thinking, I'm better than.
Yes.
Or mom likes me more, or dad likes me more.
And kids, they'll probably say that too.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah. And then the third one is the bulldog, and this is all of it on an assertiveness continuum. So we have the passive turtle, passive aggressive fox, and then the aggressive bulldog. And a bulldog parent, often we are more assertive and more aggressive when we have more power in the relationship. So for a child that has less power, I'm going to probably be more assertive and more aggressive with them. Whereas maybe in my relationship with my husband, I would be more of a fox, because if I'm super aggressive, my husband's pretty strong and I don't want to go toe to toe with him, but I don't want to not say anything at all. So I might pick that middle ground, which is, I'm going to tell you with my facial expressions and my body language exactly what I'm thinking. and give you the silent treatment or guilt you or, use my facial expressions. That was the fox.
That's the fox.
The bulldog is just aggressive and just says, put that down and get over here and, go to bed, get upstairs, brush your teeth. It's like you're just giving commands. So the alternative to that is, what does it look like to be a parent who uses curious questions to help our child to make good choices? And it's very much from a lot of Parenting with Love and Logic, where you need your child to put their shoes on. So instead of saying, get your shoes on, you would say, all right, we're going to have to put our shoes on. Would you like to put on your own shoes, or would you like me to put them on for you? So they still have to put on their shoes, but I'm finding a way to give them a choice. And I need to be okay with whichever one they pick.
Yes.
And even if they're going to put their shoes on the wrong feet, then I have to be like, hey, good job, you put your shoes on.
Yeah. Okay. That's really good. I like that, because I think that, when I think about all the things that you're sharing, I think that at one point I've been the turtle, the fox, and the bulldog.
Yeah, I have too. I mean, we all have.
I've parented in all of those areas where I've been really aggressive, but I like the giving them the choice. I think that helps too with making them feeling empowered.
Yes.
And making them know that you do have options and you do have a choice, and this is, even though I am the parent in the relationship, I still respect you in the relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And remember with brain chemistry that when we use one of the fear-based strategies with our child, we are triggering their amygdala so they can't use their thinking brain. And I want my child to learn how to use their thinking brain, because someday I'm not going to be there. And I want them to be able to think through what they're going to choose, what the consequences would be, so that they can make a good choice. So when I use a trust-based strategy, like an eagle strategy, like asking really good curious questions or helping them prepare for a situation that we're going into, then I'm also triggering their thinking brain so that hopefully when I'm not there, they're going to make good decisions.
Wow. No, that was good information, Heidi. Is there,
one other thing I wanted to say.
I was about to say.
So please. I think as moms, one of the things that we often say to our kids is we use the word why. We're like, why did you do that? Why would you do that? What were you thinking? Why would you hit your brother? And they're not questions, actually. I mean, if you think about it, when I say, why did you do that? What statement do you think I'm actually making?
Sounds to me like you're already accusing them.
Yeah.
That, not really why, but you did that. Like, why?
Not you're really an idiot. Yeah. I'm saying you're an idiot for doing what you just did. I'm not actually asking.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
So if we can catch ourselves every time we want to ask our kids a why question and ask and help me understand, or ask, we can use a what question, not what were you thinking, but like, so when you think back on when you just decided to hit your brother, can you think back to what made you want to do that? Okay. What drove you to want to do that?
So with that one, it's interesting because I would say, why did you do that? And then they would say, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. What would be the reason you think that they would just say, I almost like you do know. Like you did it. Well, why did you do it? I don't know.
So if I ask, why did you do that? Then again, I'm triggering their amygdala to just give a response that's going to protect themselves.
Okay. So that was the I don't know response.
Yeah, that's the I don't know. They can't use their thinking brain because you just accuse them. And it's basically a threat, like you're about to get in trouble. And then their adrenaline and cortisol just floods their prefrontal cortex. And that's why they're like, I don't know, because they can't think in that moment. So if I can ask a really good question that actually makes them think, like, hey, go back to when you just hit your brother. What were you doing right before that? that's a curious question. Well, I was playing with my truck. Okay, well then what happened? Well, then he tried to take it from me. Okay, well, let's think about what are some other things that you could do. Because see how your brother is hurt right now and he's over in the corner? What do you think he feels like? And then they're like, oh, I don't know. No, they'll believe her. They're like, well, he's hurt over there. Yeah, he's hurt. Have you been hurt before? And they're like, yeah. How did that feel? I don't like how that feels. Well, let's think back through what are some other options. Instead of hitting your brother, what are some other things you could have done?
Wow.
Because when I react in anger to my kids, then in their minds, they are more focused on mommy's mad than I made a bad choice or I made a poor choice. Okay. And then their goal is about either figuring out how to get you to react again or it is how do I make mommy happy.
You become the trigger?
I become the trigger.
Or they're trying to trigger you at least. Like, let's push mommy's buttons.
Let's push mommy's buttons because it's funny to see her go off the rails.
Oh my gosh. There are so many different dynamics. I'm learning a lot just sitting here. But there's so many different dynamics that we are dealing with as moms, as parents. And I can just only hope that all of you guys can use and listen to a lot of these techniques, whether your child is a toddler or even an older adult. I believe that you can still use Heidi's strategies.
Definitely. Yeah. And when your kids do get to be older adults, I think those curious questions, to really listen and ask questions to understand, not to give advice, and not to jump in and argue with them, but to actually understand, then I think that is going to help build trust in our relationship.
Yeah, I think for me, I've had to learn how to do that because I think that as a mom, you want to fix things. I recognize that about myself. I think for some reason I woke up thinking about I just want to fix everything. You just want everything to be okay with them, and sometimes they're not looking for us to fix it.
No.
They really don't want us to fix it. They just want us to listen. And I remember my daughter, she came to me and she was talking to me about something, and she said, and for a while she had to do this with me. She would say, I just want you to listen, Mom. I don't want you to try to fix it. I just want you to listen. And so as a result of that, now she trained me. She trained me to just walk in that place of, I hear you and I'm listening, but I don't necessarily want you to fix it. And so when they feel like we're trying to fix them, at least what was happening in my relationship with my daughter is that she start pulling away.
Yeah.
So they'll start pulling away. So I was like, oh, let me fix this. Let me fix me.
Let me fix me.
Really quickly. So that, that door is always open where she feels like she can just comfortably come and talk without judgment or me trying to fix it. Yeah.
Definitely. That's neat. I love how you're self-aware. And I think sometimes when we start to experience consequences like someone pulling away from us, then it makes us go, okay, what can I do different? Because the truth is, the only person that we can control is ourselves and is the way that we communicate. We can't control the other person. Yeah. So I have to figure out how to do it different and how to be a trust-based communicator with my kids.
Oh, I like that. Trust-based communicator. I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay, anything else you'd like to share, Heidi? A little more about your business? I don't know if you would like to share some contact information. If people may need additional help, they can reach out to you.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. So my website is speakeagle.com and my email address is Dr. P. I went to school for communication and got a doctorate in communication. I'm I'm still a professor in some ways, but I really, really enjoy the coaching side of it. So yeah, if you would be interested in coaching, some one-on-one coaching or even group coaching, then I have some packages available for that. And my email address is drp@speakeagle.com.
Thank you so much, Heidi, and continue to share the videos, this information. We would just love to just grow our following, and the only way that we can do that is you share, you tell, you post, and share how this is helping you. God bless you, Ground Zero Ministry.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you,
This
Heidi.
has been really special.